Nothing beats good food with your mates. But most hosts miss their own party because they're stuck in the kitchen while everyone else is having fun. The secret? Clever menu design. 5 courses, 1 afternoon, everything ready at the same time. But before we start, a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. It's the website platform that makes it incredibly easy to craft your own website, but more on that later. All right, for the first recipe, we're gonna do duck. Not this type of duck. Sorry, buddy. Don't worry, I'll clean the pot. So for main course, we're gonna do a duck confit, and it's an absolute showstopper. And I know what you're thinking, oh, come on, Andy, I'm not making duck confit. That takes so long, it's so serious and so hard. It's honestly not that hard. Traditional duck confit, you take your duck legs, you make a brine out of coarse rock salt, juniper berries, star anise, bay leaves, lemon zest. Oh my God, it is such a bore. Here's a fantastic workaround that's gonna get you 95% of the way there. French chefs, don't at me. This is not cooking at Le Gavroche, this is cooking at home. There's a difference. Duck legs, they're available at most supermarkets, definitely available at your Chinese grocer. Remove them from the packet 2 hours before you start cooking, season them heavily with salt, and let them sit out at room temperature on a wire rack. You're basically dry brining them then. You could even do this the night before and leave them in the fridge. So place your duck fat in a pot and bring it up to about 100 degrees or 110 degrees Celsius. Then you're gonna brush off any excess salt that is still left on the duck legs and place them really flat into an oven-safe tray or even an oven-safe pot or Dutch oven. On top of that, you're gonna add your aromats. So orange zest, lemon zest, thyme, star anise, coriander seeds, and black peppercorns. Carefully pour the hot duck fat over the duck legs and place a piece of cooking paper on top of that like a cartouche. And then into a preheated oven set to 120 degrees Celsius. We're gonna start checking it after 3 hours. And that's the most time-consuming part done, and you don't even have to watch it. Next cab off the rank, we're gonna tackle dessert. This is my mate Sarah's apple crumble cake, and it's absolutely delicious. It combines 2 of my favorite things in life, a delicious moist cake and apple crumble. And the reason I love doing cakes like this for desserts at dinner parties is because you do all the work before you have the dessert. Then when it comes time to eat, all you need to do is slice and serve. So for the cake batter, you're gonna add butter and your sugar to a food processor and process it until the sugar is completely dissolved and your butter is creamed. If you don't have a food processor, you can just do this with a whisk and a bowl. It's just gonna take a bit of time. Next, add 1 egg and continue mixing for another 3 to 4 minutes. Then you're gonna add your vanilla essence and your grated fresh ginger. Finally, add your flour and your self-raising flour and pulse just until everything comes together. You're gonna take a 22 centimeter spring-form cake tin and you're gonna line it with baking paper. Spray it lightly with cooking oil, add your batter, and you're gonna spread it until you have a smooth top. Our oven's preheated 180 degrees Celsius on fan force, and it goes. While your cake's in the oven, you're gonna take 5 Granny Smith apples, core them, peel them, and slice them around 1 to 2 millimeters thick. You can use a mandolin or a knife if you don't have one. Then you're gonna take the juice of 1 lemon and squeeze it all over the apples and toss them well. It's been 15 minutes, the cake should be ready. It's not fully cooked, but it's close. Back to the board. So the cake's not fully cooked, but at this point, we need to get our apples on. So working from the outside to the center, lay in your apples. Okay. All the apples are in there. We're gonna go back in the oven for about 20 minutes or until the center of the cake reaches 90 degrees Celsius. The only thing left to do is make the crumble. We're gonna add the flour, some oats, and sugar to a food processor, along with the nutmeg and cinnamon. Wouldn't be an apple pie without cinnamon. Pulse. Then add the cold cube butter. If you don't have a food processor, just put everything in a bowl and use your hands to rub the butter into the flour and oats. So our cake's been in the oven for just over 20 minutes now. We're reading 90 degrees right in the center, because next we need to put the crumble back on evenly across the top, and then we're going to place it back in the oven until it's nice and golden brown. The only other thing we need to do while that's finishing baking is whip some cream. And I like to do it quite heavy on cinnamon, so around half a teaspoon. Seems like a lot, but it is a lot. A tablespoon of icing sugar, whip it up. Pop that in the fridge so it stays really nice and cold. And that's dessert done, basically. The best bit. So let me tell you a little bit more about Squarespace. Its design intelligence feature uses AI to build personalized websites that match your style perfectly. And it's as simple as answering some questions and you're gonna get a website tailored to your needs. Creators also benefit from integrated social media tools that automatically share across platform, saving time while building audience across channels. Plus, monetization is simple with Squarespace payments. It handles purchases, subscriptions, checkout, all in one system. If you want to create your own site, then head to squarespace.com/AndyCooks for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code AndyCooks to save 10% off your first purchase. Now let's get back to that dinner party. So for entree, we're gonna do a really lovely trout rillette, a little bit of pickled fennel and some lavash. It sounds really fancy, but it's actually really easy to pull together. Lavash, you can make it or I just buy it. That job is done. Trout rillette. Buy one of these smoked trouts. You can get them in all the supermarkets in Australia and the US and the UK. If you can't find smoked trout, you can find any hot smoked fish, hot smoked salmon, mackerel, anything like that. I'm gonna remove all the skin and we're gonna pick all the flesh off it completely. We're gonna break it up, but try and keep it a little bit chunky. Just make sure there's no bones in there. Then we're just gonna simply add some creme fraiche to it. I'm gonna season it with some seeded mustard, some finely diced fresh dill, and the zest and juice of 1 lemon. Check for seasoning. It probably won't need any salt, but it's always best to check, and then you're ready to plate. I'm just gonna pop these in the fridge for now until we're ready to serve, and we'll put the final garnish on. In the meantime, let's make some pickled fennel. Now, I came up with this recipe ages ago because I always end up with these part of the fennel. So we're not using the bulb, we're using the top part of it. So we're gonna get our pickling liquor going on the start. We've got water in a small saucepan, and then I got some champagne vinegar. You basically want 50-50 water to vinegar. About a teaspoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. And 6 black peppercorns. Just gonna bring that to a light simmer. I'm gonna save that for dinner later in the week. Take all the fronds off. We'll save some of those to garnish our rillette. And to be fair, you could actually just use this in the rillette itself instead of the dill. So these, we just want to slice. Want a bit of thickness to them, about 3 millimeters thick. Most quick pickles, I just pour the pickle over the top. Because these fennel stalks are quite fibrous, we're gonna put them in the pickling liquid and just let them simmer for like 30-40 seconds before we pour it into the jar. Make sure you've got a heat-proof jar if you're gonna pour hot liquid in it. Otherwise, let it cool down in the pot and then pour it in if you're unsure. Next up, our garnish for our duck. Now, it's kind of my take on a cassoulet, which is like a delicious French duck dish, confit duck, Toulouse sausage, etc., etc. It's a much lighter version. It's not really a cassoulet at all. It's just got the same components. So I've got some really nice canned butter beans. You can make your own. You can cook your own, I should say, but I honestly prefer just to buy the canned ones most of the time. I've just drained and rinsed them. I've got some pancetta here. We're going to dice this pancetta into large lardons, and then we're going to cook them in the pan until they're lovely and golden brown. We're simply going to halve some cherry tomatoes, and then we're going to dice up our carrots, shallots, and garlic, and we're going to saute that in the pan that we did our lardons in, just till it's nice and tender and has a little bit of color on the outside. There you go, that's our duck garnish done. Just need a little bit of stock to heat our beans up. Everything's good to go. I've got one more little trick up my sleeve. All right, I think it's really important to have a little bite of food completely ready to go when your guests walk into your house for your dinner party. I think it kind of sets the tone, relaxes everyone, they've got something to eat. Back in my day in restaurants, we used to call it an amuse-bouche. Now they call it snacks and they charge you for them. They are delicious. So we're gonna do a little dark rye crouton with some whipped goat's feta, roast grapes, and lemon thyme. So to make the croutons, we're gonna cut them into rectangles about 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters. You want something that's like 2 bites. Dainty. Onto a tray, drizzle of olive oil, season with salt. Into the oven, 200 degrees on grill. Watch it like a hawk. It's not going to take long. You want nicely golden toasted. Hard to see with dark rye how color it is. You don't want it too dark. For the whipped goat cheese, just add your goat cheese and your yogurt to a blender and whip it until it's nice and smooth. Check for seasoning and you're good to go. Place your grapes onto a tray, a little bit of olive oil and salt, and into a really, really hot oven for 3 or 4 minutes. You're just trying to blister the outside. Last thing I want to get ready before anyone shows up is to get our salad ready. So I've got some washed butter leaves and a real simple dressing, 50% olive oil, 50% lemon juice. That's it. Just something to cut through all that richness of the duck dish. But we'll put that aside and worry about it later. So let's just do a little recap of where you should be before anyone even gets to your house, before you've even had a shower and put your fancy outfit on. We have our little snack ready. Crouton, feta, grapes. Our rillettes in the fridge. We've got our pickled fennel and our lavash to serve with that. We've got our garnish for our duck ready. Our ducks are out of the oven. They're lovely and tender. And hot tip, if you've only got one oven, You can do the ducks the day before and let them cool down before you put them in the fridge, or even in the morning of, and just leave them at room temperature. They will be perfectly fine. We still need to finish and crisp the skin up right before we serve them. Our cake's ready and our cream's in the fridge. So just before your mates get there, let's hope they're on time, because there's nothing worse than late dinner guests. We're gonna finish our little toasts. Hey, note to the editors, can you make a little doorbell sound when I put the last one on the plate? Oh, what was that? Perfect timing. All right, everyone's here. They've got a drink in their hand. They've got a lovely little piece of toast that they're nibbling on. We're gonna get the next course out really quickly. What that does is it encourages them to sit down. Otherwise people just mingle around forever. I love my friends, but there's a certain point of the day that I do want them to leave. So the faster we get them to sit down, the quicker we can get them to go home. So to finish our rillette, it's super simple. We're just gonna do that chef thing and put a little bit of olive oil on it. Some of our fennel fronds from earlier, and I'd keep these nice and chunky. Then on the side, we're gonna serve some of our pickled fennel tops. So there you go. Put that on your table, one at each end, lavash in the middle. Delicious. The snack and the entree are done and the table's cleared. It's a good time to give your guests a few minutes just to kind of digest a little bit before you start plating up the main course. So while they're talking about, I don't know, whatever people talk about, we can start this. Now, this is room temperature, which is fine. If you're doing it from cold, because you did it the day before, it's gonna take a lot longer. Pull the duck legs carefully out of the oil and place them into a cold pan. Because we're doing this at room temperature, it's not gonna take anywhere near as long. We're just trying to get some color on the outside skin. So into the pan, don't let too much fat come off it. You kind of want some of that fat to help brown it up. And hot tip, do not throw this duck fat away. It is liquid gold. Put it in an airtight container in your fridge. It'll last for months. Perfect for potatoes, for just cooking in general, especially if you're cooking like a little chicken midweek and you want to have a little flavor boost. Just be really careful here. This duck is lovely and tender, so you don't want to move it around heaps because the chance it might fall apart. So in they go. So what I got here was about a litre of chicken stock that I've reduced by about 2/3. I'm going to pour that reduced stock into another pan for our garnish, and in go our white beans, tomatoes, our onions and carrots, or shallots and carrots. Pull the thyme out, that's why we kept it whole, so we could pull it out, and our lardons. So all we're trying to do really is kind of heat this through. We're not trying to cook it, everything's cooked, we just want it nice and hot. So you can have it on a medium-high heat and just keep stirring it. If it dries out, you can just add a little bit more water or some stock if you got it at hand. While our ducks are just finishing, we'll just plate our salad. Just gonna finish our beans with a little bit of parsley chiffonade. And our ducks. Now the truth is, duck like this are quite sticky. So make sure you use like a fish slice to try, and you want to get all that nice crispy skin off the pan in one go. There you go, confit duck leg, white bean with lardons and cherry tomatoes. Little butter lettuce salad on the side. What more could you want? And finally, the delicious apple crumble cake. All I'm gonna do is slice it up in the kitchen, and then I'm gonna put it down on the table and everyone can help themselves. We've got our cinnamon cream for the side. Put that down on the table, let people help themselves to whatever size piece they want. Delicious. So there you go. That's how you cook for your mates without being stressed and spending the whole night in the kitchen. It's all about menu design and making sure that you got stuff that you're kind of just reheating and serving just like we do in the restaurants. Thanks for watching, legends. We'll see you next week on the video. Peace.